We are live on YouTube. Let me just check one Facebook channel and then we'll get started. Okay, we are live.
Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Ankush Sharma. I am your MC for the evening today. A little bit about myself is why did I start cycling? I think I've always been a fan of avoiding using plastic. Today the petrol costs are going up and I've always wanted to run away from the gym but run towards fitness. So a great alternative was this bicycle. The day I touched the bicycle for the first time, somebody told me, Ankush, if you cycle 200 kilometers, you will become a randonnier Ankush Sharma, like Sir Don Bradman. You will become randonnier Ankush Sharma. And so set out my journey for the first 200 kilometers. It is a life-changing experience, ladies and gentlemen. A bicycle is a life-changing device. It's more than just two wheels, a handlebar. I think one famous saying about cycling and around it is it teaches you that if you want to keep moving in life, um, in order to keep a balance, you got to keep moving in life. So on that note, I will take out my mask and my helmet and be a little more presentable now. Cycle for Good is an initiative, ladies and gentlemen, that we are out to talk about today. Cycle for Good was started basically um, to introduce the concept of having cycles and kind of stitch cycling into our daily life. So when you're going to the market, use your cycle and go. If you're going to anywhere nearby, small distance, use your cycle and go. If you have become a passionate cyclist or a rider, you can use your cycle and go. Basically, you too can run, which was an initiative which is not. It's a forum which is not alien to India. Across India, you too can run has been doing running and cycling events. I think over 300 odd events have been completed successfully. Before I do injustice to it, let me bring on the man who had started You Too Can Run. Venkat sir, we call him Venkat sir, is a kind, always smiling young man. Yes, he's still a very young man, much younger than what you think you are. So over to you, Venkat sir. Please do tell us a little bit about You Too Can Run.
Thank you, Ankush. When you came on as Ankush Baba, I was just wondering who this is, and you really made a big, bang entrance. Almost. Thank you very much for taking out the time and hosting. A little bit about me. I mean, most of the attendees would know me. My name is Venkat Raman. I am the, founder of You Too Can Run. We have done about 1,800 events so far. We have registered about 1 million runners, cyclists, mass participation endurance events. In about 100 of them have been the race. We are the race management partners, which means we conduct the event, and this is really what we have been up to. And in the world of running, I think probably everybody knows us one way or the other. We have been involved. Our business is about 6-7 years old, and we have worked with some of the best brand names that are there in the country. You Too Can Run is proud to start its own IP, which is Cycle for Good, and it is about raising money through charity, etc., etc. Which we will of course know more. And I thank everyone for coming here and being part of this afternoon with us. And we are as excited about the launch of Cycle for Good as an initiative to raise money for NGOs. Back to you, Ankush.
So please do tell us a little bit about the initiative of Cycle for Good.
Okay, so uh, whatever You Too Can Run has done, we have always had a charitable component in everything that we have done. I don't know whether so many years, every event has had a charitable component, and we are also a social entrepreneurship. So, for example, last January we raised about 6 lakhs for Nirman out of an event in Hyderabad called Inorbit. Cycle for Good is a cusp of charity, cycling, and people becoming healthier. And the aim is that people should register, people should be motivated to cycle, there should be a leaderboard, there should be some social accountability, etc., etc. And simultaneously, whenever for every single registration that is happening, some charity somewhere is going to get benefited. 28 or 30 charities have enrolled already, and as we speak, they are on the line. And and the idea is that charities must raise money, and people must cycle. Cycling, as you know, is a very good sport, and that it's a cusp of cycling, doing good, being healthy.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. So, quick question, and it gives us great pleasure to be brand ambassadors of this event. Thank you so much for creating an initiative and giving people a platform like this for them to come on board and be a part of it. Quick question for you: how does mass participation in events raise highest amount of funds for charities? How does that work?
So let me this. Uh, People don't know, but running and cycling and swimming, all of which are called mass participation endurance events, together raise the largest amount of charity in the globally. Okay, I mean, let's take cricket, which consumes so much of sponsorship money in India. About 80% of sponsorship goes towards cricket. How much charity do you see happening there? Okay, not much. You might see a few cricketers standing here and there in front of some NGOs, and doing the usual stuff that are necessary for Instagram and whatnot. But really, the amount of money is not this. Compare that with Mumbai Marathon, which through the one single event running on the third Sunday of January every year. Last year it raised 45 crores. Okay, so that is what running does, and globally it is the same. There are many glamorous sports: tennis, golf, motor car racing, huge prize monies, lot of celebrities involved. But what is the charity they do? Whereas in running and in cycling, what happens is that many small people can come together and they can raise small amounts of money, and all those small amounts of money aggregate and become a very large amount of money. The 40,000 runners in Mumbai Marathon together have raised 45 crores, and some have raised obviously more than the others. But that is the kind of possibility that is there. There's a Hindi phrase, "Bund bund se banta hai sagar," and that is true for endurance sports like cycling, like running. I will just give one example, and there's a friend's daughter Tarini. Every year she runs the Mumbai Marathon, the 7 kilometers dream run, but she raises 75,000 rupees for her NGO. She was a college kid, and now of course she's working and she's a social media expert. But she has been raising that money, and why? How does she raise it? Her uncle, her aunt, her nephews, her cousin, her friends, her college mates, her classmates. Everybody gives 500,000, 500,000, and then it becomes 75,000 every year, which is the target she has. This is the possibility. There are thousands and thousands of Tarinis who can work towards making this possible, and that is what endurance sports does, and that is what Cycle for Good is going to do.
Thank you so much for that amazing input. And you can see, ladies and gentlemen, how these numbers are showing up. We are talking about 45 crores. I don't know how many of you know this, but would you want to take a guess as to how many zeros are there in a crore? Most of the times when I ask people this question, they turn around and say, "Sir, salary ऐसी तो है नहीं, तो zeros गिन के क्या फायदा?" Just a little bit of an input, ladies and gentlemen. An average human lives for 25,000 days only. Okay, I will leave you with that thought for right now. I'm going to be introducing Nishit Kumar, sir, a little bit about Nishit sir, who is running SBC3. That's the Center for Social and Behavioral Change Communication. That's India's first developmental sector organized focused on building sustainable evidence-based behavior change programs. I think India needs a lot of behavioral change for certain. From being a country where we used to touch people's feet to we're not even respecting each other anymore. I think we've gone through a significant change. But that's just my thoughts. They are working with UNICEF, which is the partner agency, and have worked across Maharashtra to build SPCC-based strategy for eliminating child marriages. Their own programs are focused on adolescent mental health and child sexual abuse. A little bit about Nishit sir. Nishit sir, give me a minute here. It's a pleasure to introduce someone like you to such a illustrious audience. It's absolutely my pleasure. So Nishit sir, he is a veteran with a notable career in three sectors. He came to the development sector 20 years ago from the corporate sector, where he was the CEO of an ITES company. His stint in the development sector is well known during his 11-year stint at Childline India, and had added IT and telecommunication technology to ensure nationwide coverage of the helpline number 1098. Well, I am going to leave the rest of the reading to you people. I'm sure you guys can read a lot better than me. Um, Nishit sir, welcome. And any words that you would like to start off or kick off the meeting with? Please take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Loud and clear.
Thank you so much. 2020 has been one of the worst years for the development sector, a year in which people were forced to work from home and digress from their normal cause-related work to provide food and shelter for migrant labor. A year in which 12,000 crores was diverted by companies from their CSR funding of non-profits and transferred to PM CARES Fund. If that wasn't enough, the sector was hit by the FCRA amendment bill that disallowed subgranting and restricted admin expenses to 20%. This virtually cut off thousands of nonprofits from funds to survive, let alone sustain their programs. Many nonprofits are forced to lay off staff and shut operations. At the same time, the pressure on nonprofits to reach out to the beneficiary communities has been severe. Almost all services sectors in the country have laid off lakhs of people, and people who were at the bottom of the pyramid have been pushed to destitution. Under these circumstances, funding, particularly non-earmarked general funding, is priceless. I in addition, I'd like to just say that, this is a privilege for allowing me to be part of this important milestone in the development sector. Some dates become historical for the Big Bang events that happen on those dates. Some become historic because events launched on that day seem insignificant then, but eventually become very big. And today is one such day. And I'm very happy to be part of this day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Sir, another quick question for you. What are the challenges faced by the nonprofits due to the pandemic?
Okay, well, in a way, I just answered that. Last year was a year when about 12,000 crores was diverted by companies from their CSR funding on nonprofits and transferred to PM CARES Fund. Then the FCRA amendment bill came and hit us, which disallowed subgranting of funds and restricted admin expenses to 20%. In the last 1 year, many nonprofits have laid off hundreds and thousands of people, and this comes at a time when the country's communities, particularly marginalized communities, need the services of nonprofits more than ever before, because most people across in services sectors have been laid off by the lakhs. People who are in the bottom of the line pyramid have gone and become destitute. So under these circumstances, nonprofits have really worked hard to figure out how to find the funding, particularly general funding, to be able to sustain themselves and their programs.
Thank you so much for answering that yet again for me. Venkat sir, a question over to you.
Sure.
What is a virtual event, and what is Cycle for Good? Tell us about what is a virtual event.
Okay. So just imagine If the pandemic had not been there, we would not all have been on Zoom. I mean, Ankush, you are in Bangalore and we coordinated all this all the way through. Nishit is in Goregaon, I am in, Santa Cruz, and many others would be in all parts of the country. In a traditional format, we would have all assembled in a hall. The chairman's daughter would have sung some Ganesh Vandana, some lamp would have been lit, there would have been biscuits and tea to go around, and we would have launched an event like this. So even just as we have become virtual here, running events, cycling events, endurance events are also becoming virtual in the same way, which many people think virtual means you don't have to actually do the effort. No, you have to still do the effort. You have to still cycle that distance, swim that distance, run that distance, or combinations thereof, duathlon, triathlon, whatever. Okay. But the choice of the venue is left to the participant. The time of the day is left to the participant. And the submission, that the recording of the activity, what you did, has to be on an app, and that is why the recording is virtual, that is why the word virtual. And then the submission of what you did and how much you did, etc., has to be virtual. It has to be through an app. Okay. So what happens is that a virtual event is a real event performed by people actually cycling, actually running, actually swimming, or combinations thereof, but doing it in their own convenience, and then submitting it electronically, compiling the results electronically, and then announcing prizes or gifts or whatever else gratification that is there. So that is what the virtual event is, and that is how it is different. It does not dilute any of the effort of the participants. Okay, that is true. The next is that what there are race categories. So how much do you cycle? How many days do you cycle? Do you cycle that within 1 week, within 1 month, within 90 days, etc.? In Cycle for Good, we have got about 7 race categories. So just as in an actual running event, there'll be a full marathon, half marathon, 10K, 5K, 2K, distances. Cycling, there'll be 200, 100, 25K, 50K. In Cycle for Good, we have 7 race categories. We have engagement period. So the first one, I'll just go to the first one, which is called Cycle 365. There, anybody who's above 14 years or above can take part in that event. The engagement period, that is 365 days, for 1 year, he has to stay engaged with the activity. And within those 365 days, on 100 days, that is, if there are 52 weeks in a year, then for 2 days in a week, one Sunday or Saturday and one midday, he has to cycle. So for 100 days, he has to do the activity called cycling, which is called a cycling year. And he has to cover 1500 kilometers within that 1 year in 100 days. Now he can do 120 days. He can do 1800 kilometers. That is choice. This is the minimum. Okay. This is the minimum. Of course, he'll get a T-shirt, he'll get a multi-wear, he'll get a medallion, he'll get a certificate, etc. And those are the fees, and those are the other details of that. So the person actually has to do it, and then there is something for everybody. So everybody has to have something. The last one is Kiddos Day Out. So 4 people can, 4 you can register. 3 years, 7 years. It is 1 day activity. 1 hour you have to cycle, and you have to cover at least 3 kilometers. You are assuming kids will be there and they'll cycle slowly and they'll stop cycling and all that. And then they will also get a multi-wear and they'll get a certificate, etc. So that is what a virtual event is. People can do it anywhere in the country. Why? We have found that people can do it anywhere in the world. For example, for example, we do virtual events, which are running events and cycling events, and we find that their supporters in the US, in the UK, wherever they also take part. They also submit. It doesn't matter whether you cycled in Bangalore or whether you cycled in Berlin, Ankush, at the end of the day.
I'm going to be cycling right here.
Okay.
So I am going to be a part of the 365 days cycle program, and
Very good.
I intend to for this year I intend to do about 15,000 kilometers if I have your
Wow.
permission,
Ah.
and if I generate any money through that, and if I want to create just to share with everybody, I'm supporting the cause for dogs. Dogs are something that I really, really love. I have rescued dogs from the street. I used to bring them home and keep them with me. So they're very, very personal to me. I have personally thought about that as my charity. There are many charities which are aligned to Cycle for Good. My humble request to everyone who is watching is to go and check the charity, or go and align yourself with the charity that really means something to you, that you're out there to do something for that charity. Okay, and that's the benefit that we get under Cycle for Good. Another quick question for Venkat sir. Um, what is the kind of technology that we are using while we are doing? Could you take us through that?
Sure. So there are technologies required for two distinct set of activities in a virtual event. One is the technology required to capture the activity. Okay. So let's say you're cycling 20 kilometers today. So we need a technology that will capture where you started, what time you started, what pace you kept, which route you went, when you came back. That is the activity. And then you require a technology to submit the activity. And then there's a leaderboard. How am I doing? How is my friends in Bangalore doing? Who are the other people? How much are they doing? That comparative. That's called a leaderboard. Who's leading the board? Okay, leaderboard. And then there is a technology required to communicate, give results, notifications, etc. Communication part. Okay. So we have two distinct technologies for Cycle for Good. The one technology that is there, which is for capturing the activity, is we have left it to the participants to do it in whatever method they are currently doing. For example, you might be having a Garmin. Somebody might be using a Strava app. What is that? That's a Garmin.
That's a Garmin.
Correct.
That's the device that
so
I'm going to be using.
obviously your Garmin is connected and it syncs and it goes to connect.garmin.com. So whatever is the instrument that in which you are already capturing your activity, that stays. Nothing changes there. We don't want to bring a new piece of technology into that aspect, because different, like I use a Garmin that's on my hand, okay, when I cycle. Somebody might be using Strava apps or any of those apps that are available which does this entire work. So the capturing happens there. After they capture, they can either sync it with Strava or with Garmin. From there, our leaderboard will take over. Our app will take over. The Cycle for Good mobile app will take over. It will compare at the end of the day whether Ankush cycled more or Tim cycled more or who cycled more on that day. It will present all the statistics, all the things. And then there will be the communications, and then, what are notifications we need to send. So that will be on the Cycle for Good app, which will get released in both the Android and the iOS versions. And the capturing of the activity is on whatever the person is already doing. That doesn't change, but both get synced.
Thank you so much. Venkat sir, been there, really patient. A question to you: how can charities use this opportunity to raise money through the year?
Nishit, that's your question.
Sorry, Venkat sir, question for you.
Yes, okay. See, Cycle for Good, as Venkat has just said, though it's called virtual, the only thing virtual is how cyclists are tracked and certified. Cyclists who register and agree to support a non-profit have to cycle physically. The fact that Cycle for Good allows participants to choose their time and distance wherever they are, wherever they stay, and join wherever they want to, makes this a truly global event. The event is not specific to one geographic location on one specific day. It's always open. This allows nonprofits to avoid a single big bang fundraising plan. It allows nonprofits to pace their cyclist enrollment program week on week, month on month. It will take them about 6 to 8 weeks to enroll their first cyclists. But thereafter, it allows them to put in place a regular strategy of weekly enrollments that can ensure them a sustainable flow of funds every month. Then they can add to their efforts during specific periods such as Dan Utsav, Deepavali, etc. It gives them the flexibility to work with corporate supporters, youth, and even beneficiaries. It lends itself to multiple kinds of arrangements with corporates who may not even have to dip into CSR to support them for it. So, in a sense, this is a very flexible, very versatile kind of a platform.
Sure. Could you throw some light on the different NGOs that have been onboarded? I know I've spoken about the dogs. Could you speak about the rest of them also, please?
A vast range of causes are covered by the non-profits who have registered so far. Child rights, girl child, gender equity, health, nutrition, mental health, livelihood, skills development, education, hunger, environment, and even support for street dogs. We looked for onboarding the leading non-profits in each cause as they would be early adopters. all the marquee names from the sector, Magic Bus, Cry, Childline, Goon, Save the Children, Habitat, HelpAge, Yuva, CMPA, they're all on board, But there are also several small non-profits who are also on board. Our next range of next phase of non-profit onboarding, opens has just opened actually, and through the rest of the month we will be onboarding our next phase of non-profits, and I'm sure you will see virtually every recognizable, credible non-profit on board on this platform.
Fantastic. Thank you for that input, sir. Venkat sir, I'm posing a question to you about who is an ambassador? What is this ambassador doing? Is it a car? Is it a human being? Is it a plane? What is it? What is an ambassador?
Yeah. So we felt that I mean, most events have ambassadors, and they go after film stars and celebrities and pay a huge packet of money. But we wanted ambassadors to be somebody relatable to us. So ambassadors are people who are cyclists, but who are cyclists who can play an evangelical role. People who have done very good cycling, are experts, and love and have a passion for cycling. So we want them to promote the sport. We want them to use Cycle for Good as a platform to raise money for the NGOs. We want them to support the cause of the NGOs. We want them to support the cause of running and generally be a ambassador for this. Let me give you a few examples. Who are these ambassadors and this? For example, there is an ambassador called Mahesh. Mahesh is right now cycling from Delhi to Bombay. He was yesterday in our office in Bombay, and right now he's cycling from Bombay towards Belgaum, and he's doing the Golden Quadrilateral. Okay, he is right now on the route, and he's going to go from Delhi to Bombay, Bombay to Chennai, Chennai to Calcutta, Calcutta to back to Delhi. Okay, but last week Amit Samath, who's another brand ambassador of ours, he cycled this entire distance in about 13 days and 2 hours. Okay, he did a Guinness Book record. In 13 days, he cycled about 6,000 kilometers, which is what the Golden Quadrilateral is. Mahajan Brothers, who are another brand ambassador, they are from doctors from Nasik. They have done many things, but one of them they have done is that they are the first Indian winners of Race Against America. That is from San Francisco to New York. They have race across America, and that is what they have done. So this is what the ambassadors are. They are people who are passionate about cycling and who will promote the NGO. So each NGO has got linked to an ambassador, and they will support the NGO, and they'll support the cause of the NGO, and they'll promote cycling, they'll promote registrations, and they'll generally accomplished people are ambassadors like you, Ankush. Accomplished, passionate.
If you guys can see the screen, I am wearing the helmet. I was wearing the helmet when we started off, so that's my helmet. I am on the 5th column, second guy right in the between. So
Okay.
that's me. But I have many more people who are so accomplished in this forum that I would like to call out their names. Mir Jadhav, who is an Indian athlete, the national champion in 2017, 5th runner-up of the Indian national under age 23 in 2021. It's a pleasure to have you on board, Mir. Dr. Hitendra Mahajan is the first Indian to complete the world's toughest endurance race, which is close to anything between like 1,000 to 6,000 kilometers. I think that's a story in itself. 6,000 kilometers, ladies and gentlemen. That is really long. So we also have Pranita, who is an MTB road cyclist. Great respect and welcome on board. She is also there amongst us, who's won 8 golds, 6 silvers, 3 bronze. We have got Amit Samarth, who's already been spoken about. I am a huge fan of yours, and I've told you that earlier. Is longest distance in cycling 9,100, and he has completed the race across America. Also, Himanshu Kumar, who is a blade runner and a paracyclist, India and Asia's Book of Records holder, fastest cycling with a prosthetic leg. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me goosebumps, as you can see, as I even talk about the kind of people who are there on board over here. It's an absolute pleasure for me to even host all of you and be in the same on the same slide as each one of you are. So it's a really proud moment for me. I would like to thank all the ambassadors on behalf of Cycle for Good for being there, and thank you so much. Venkat sir, a quick question for you, and from my end, that would be the last question for today. So, what do the participants get at the end of after they have participated in all of this? Besides getting the health and the fitness and a bicycle and all, what do they get from the event as such?
So generally, when this answer question is asked, and of course, my team has put up the slide showing the tangibles. Okay, but uh, I mean, this is something you can buy anywhere. Okay, so it doesn't really, it's not really very this. That the tangibles are a cycling jersey, which will be launching right now. I'll go and open an actual one and show it to you all. A neckwear, which is a mask which you can wear, you can put it on your mouth, you can put it under your helmet. When you're cycling, some people wear something between their hair and the helmet because you do some hair and all that. So there's a medallion. We wanted to give a medal, but we felt a medallion would be far better. So this is a metal medallion that will look this. So this is what tangibles you'll get. But what are the intangibles? We don't pay money to buy a jersey. I mean, you can go to a shop and buy the jersey. The intangibles are two. The first is that you know that you're doing good for yourself. You are reaping all the benefits of cycling, not just for you, but also for society at large. The first benefit for cycling for yourself is that you're going out and doing an activity, and any activity is health, builds up immunity. In the times of pandemic, it is very necessary. So you're basically making a commitment to yourself that for 1 week, 90 days, 180 days, 365 days, whatever commitment period you choose, you are buying a subscription so that you are accountable for yourself, and you're putting a we are getting into a habit, a pattern that is going to result in good health for you, keep you safe from COVID and many other things, and boost your immunity. That is the first thing. Second is you're doing good for the environment. Third is, you're decluttering the city if you're going to commute to work, and many people work towards that. And besides all this, the last thing is that you know that you're representing, and your some part of your money has gone towards an NGO. And we are hoping that at some point of time, the participant and the NGO will enable all this to happen. The NGO will get together, know more about each other, and the participant will help the NGO far more than what he did when he just registered for the event. And that relationship will upscale. So that is really what the participants get: the feeling of doing good, cycling, becoming healthy, and the cycle of being good and doing good.
Thank you so much, Venkat sir. Um, so before I open the forum to to all the ambassadors to speak a few words about what they want to say and how they see themselves integrating themselves into Cycle for Good, I would take this opportunity to request Venkat sir to show us and unveil the jersey and the neckwear, um, and the medallion. Do if you have a sample of it, we'd love to see
Sure,
it quickly.
sure. I'll just step off the camera, go into the other room. My team has kept everything ready. Okay,
Okay,
I'll come into another screen now.
fantastic. While we are waiting for everybody, why don't I quickly ask Amit Bhai, Dr. Amit Samarth, could you speak a few words as to how you see yourself and Cycle for Good coming together for the betterment of the community and the particular. Okay, I think we are ready. But I would like to request Dr. Amit, sir, would you be comfortable in speaking a few words before we do this?
Amit, Amit, just 1 minute. I'll do the jersey bit and this I'll unveil the jersey.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the team that stands in front of you. These are the guys who are making this event possible completely.
Yeah, I'd like to quickly say Shilpa.
Hello.
Shilpa has been.
Raise your hand and just show yourself to everybody. She's been troubling up everybody, and she's the person responsible for all of our lives getting miserable. That's Hiral. If I'm not wrong, that's Hiral.
No, that is Surbi.
Surbi. Hey, Surbi.
Hiral is on the laptop. Radhika.
Okay. And
Radhika is.
So I can't hear you.
Radhika.
Radhika. Who's Ishan?
Radhika.
Ishan, come forward. This is Ishan.
Ishan is there. He's the guy who's troubling us with the videos, and he's the guy who's requesting us to make all the videos and all that. So, ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know that this is the team that is troubling us a little bit. But thank you so much for making it happen at the back end. Really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, jersey which is known to reduce drag if you wear of the right size and those colors. I see an Indian tricolor there. I see an orange. I see a green, and I see a beautiful white. And that is.
And everybody who takes part in either the 180-day or the 365-day challenge gets a jersey like this with their name customized on the back.
And people who are not can buy it.
All right.
Okay. So this is a jersey. The medallion is only an artwork. We couldn't get the sample, but it will be ready. And this is the neckwear. This is a neckwear.
That's your buff.
And
something that we are all using nowadays. All cyclists to wear this kind of stuff when you go out. There you see a demonstration.
So this is like a mask. If you want to wear it over a helmet,
it can be worn in 9 different ways. Yeah, exactly. That's the toughest one. There you go. Also, if you want to rob a bank or something that comes really. All right. Thank you so much for giving us the demonstration, Venkat sir. Ladies and gentlemen,
and I have the pleasure of cutting a cake. I hope the camera is there and you can see it.
Anybody who gets to eat that cake cycles 100 kilometers today. Very good. See, nobody responded to that. Excellent. Okay. All right, 1, 2, 3, and take it away. And with the cutting of that cake, we kind of. I think you should put it on Ishan's face.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. So with that, I'm going to go to Amit sir. Thank you for all the good job, ladies and gentlemen. Good job, team. Amit bhai, if you could turn your video on and take a minute or 2 minutes to speak about anything that you see aligning with Cycle for Good and yourself.
Amit is not here.
Okay. Why don't
Are there
I?
any questions? I mean, if there are questions, please put up your hands and I can allow you to speak. If you are watching this on YouTube or Facebook, you can type your questions and I can see the chat on my window and I can respond back in voice. So we are willing to take questions. If anybody wants to add anything more, Nishit, if you want to get somebody to say a few words, I mean, feel free. You can look at the attendee list. I can just allow them to speak.
Not particularly. I'm happy if somebody from the non-profit sector speaks a few words. Varsha, would you like to say something?
One minute, Varsha, I'm allowing you to talk. Varsha, you can unmute and speak.
We love to see your face also, Varsha.
How do I do that? I don't know how to
You need to,
get this on.
turn on the
It's
camera.
called a Zoom
Yeah.
link.
Oh, just 1 second. No, I don't seem to have any way of putting the camera on.
The bottom left, there'll be a stop video and a start video.
That's
No,
okay.
I've only
Varsha,
got
could you
mute.
tell us
I've
what
only
is it that
got
you'd like to
mute,
say
but
about-
I've only got the microphone. But anyway, good evening. And my name is Varsha Huja, and I represent Dr. Mitu Allur. I'm a trustee with ADAPT, which is Able Disabled All People Together, which was earlier the Spastic Society of India. And we've been working in the space of disability and inclusion and education for about almost 5 decades now. We've also known Nishit for very long. And that's how we got introduced to this entire initiative. I just wanted to say thank you so much for today, for the initiative, and also for the training program that you had for NGOs, which made things very clear to us as to how we should go about this. I've put it in the chat, but I'd also like to say this, and I cannot reiterate this enough. I said it last time also, that the greatest thing about this is that these are non-restricted funds. And for the non-profit sector, this is very important because your project funds are tied up. And like Nishit mentioned, you have limits as to how much you can do for admin or for finance. So this is a great opportunity for us to be able to now supplement whatever we are not getting because of CSR funds being diverted, and because of COVID. Of course, it's made life so difficult for everybody that obviously the donor funds have dried up. So thank you both, Venkatesh and Nishit, for this and for including us. And we're looking forward to really going out there and raising awareness, raising health, and raising funds. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Varsha. That is nice. Would anybody else from the sector like to speak? Vikas from Childline. Vikas, would you like to say a few words? Childline has been a big part of my life, and I know how much Childline will benefit from this funding. Vikas, would you like to speak?
Because you can unmute and speak.
Hi there. I hope you all can hear me out.
Yes.
We would love to see you also, Vikas.
Uh,
Even you're having a hard time finding the button which shows you.
yeah, actually, it doesn't give me a video option.
No problem.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Hear your thoughts. Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Vikas Putran. I head resource mobilization and communications at Childline India Foundation. We are a helpline for children in distress. It's a nationwide number, 1098. Today, this year alone, during COVID time, we handled almost 50 lakh calls, and we did close to 3.5 lakh interventions already so far. And we are happy to participate in this Cycle for Good event. Events are a good events are a good way for us to raise funds for
I know it.
general administration purposes. So we're looking forward to signing up runners and supporters of Childline to support us through this event and raise awareness about Childline 1098 and as well as to reach out to more and more children in distress. Thank you.
Thank you, Vikas. Well, anybody else would like to speak? Please just raise a hand and then you can unmute yourself.
Anna wants to speak. Anna.
All right, good afternoon. This is Charlie. This is Charlie from Habitat for Humanity India. And I really love to show myself, but it is like administered in a way that only the audio can be done, video something the host has to open. So thank you very much, Mr. Ankush and Mr. Venkatraman and Mr. Nisit Kumar, that we had a long discussion before we joined. And from, we had a very long discussion with Mr. Nisit Kumar earlier. So once again, I am from Habitat for Humanity, India. We have organized, this is an international organization. We are working in 70 plus countries. My role as a director for resource development and global village international volunteer programs. We are very much happy to be part of it. I'm sure lots of my colleagues from different countries that we have informed them already to different countries, and we are also going to circulate this to many of our global volunteers. It's the biggest network. We have millions of people in the global network, and we are sure that we will identify people and go for go to them and then make sure that many people are joining with us and cycle for good. Of course, it's going to be a great successful one for us, and wishing the organizing team a very all the best. And we are happy to see the picture background from Mr. Venkatraman that has all the child couple family members. That's really a good wonderful picture. As an organization from working around the world, we would like to
Yes,
thank
Ankush.
you. This is here. Thank you, and thank you for arranging everything. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, team. Maybe you can go to the next person. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charlie. Thank you. Thank you so much for those words. Some of the people in the non-profit sector who are part of this are also cyclists themselves. The FMCH head of FMCH, the executive director, I think, she's herself a cyclist. And many other people I've found while discussing with them that they were cycling away as part of their regular routines. That's the big thing over here. The fact that India is such a cycle-friendly country, and it has millions and millions and millions of cycles. In 2020, 6 months between April and September, 4 million cycles were sold, and cyclists went on a wait list. Unbelievable, but it's true. But in such a big country, this is the first event which actually is a platform for people who cycle to be certified for what they do, to be certified for being fit. So in that sense, it's a wonderful opportunity that has developed now, and which we are launching today. Madhu Madan, please do speak. Please unmute yourself and speak.
Vidhi wants to speak.
It doesn't have an unmute option. Madhu, sir, can you please make her the panelist?
Vidhi, you can unmute and speak.
Second is Madhu. Searching for Madhu. Madhu. Madhu Madan, is that him? We don't have an option where he can speak.
How is that possible?
It's got something to do with the rights which have been given to people. Somehow, yes. Oh, Madhu, I can see your picture now.
Yes, I'm muted again.
Yes, she can now speak.
Please
Yes.
speak.
So delighted to be a part of this initiative. I think it's a great way to get your health. And we always say that for longevity and good health as you grow older, staying active and being active is the best way you can prepare for your senior years. So delighted to be a part of this initiative. And as I mentioned, we work for the elderly now for the over 42 years across more than 1900 villages across all the states of India. And we do hope that many people will come and look at this cause, because it is one of the causes which I think we are all working for, to create a society which is compassionate for its elderly, and a society that we would ourselves like to grow old in. So very, very happy to be a part of this. And we wish you all the very best. And I'm sure it's a fantastic initiative and it'll do very well. Thank you very much to Team Cycle for Good for all the work that you've done in putting this together. Everyone, and all a very, very successful fundraising effort.
Thank you so much, Madhu. Thank you so much for the kind words. Thank you.
One of the things that didn't come out very clearly is that I explained about a virtual event, but actually all NGOs must take this back home and talk to their teams internally. The Mumbai Marathon raises about 45 crores, running event happens one day on a year. A virtual event happens throughout the year. There is no geographic restriction that it has happened only in one city on one day. There is no time restriction. You can customize the events in whatever way you want. You can, go to a corporate, say it's the Founders Day. Can we do a cycling event with you? There are so many ways, and because it's virtual, there is so much of flexibility possible in the back end of the design. We own the technology. We build the technology ourselves from scratch for all this. So that entire flexibility is with us. So NGOs must remember that they should not take the mindset of an on-ground event and supplant it into a virtual event, because the virtual event gives you the liberation and the liberty to do things in a much more flexible manner throughout the year. Package it in whatever way you want, go and engage with people in whatever way you want, and you too can run Cycle for Goods. Deliverable is to deliver the technology, deliver the marketing communication channels that are available, email, SMS, social media, whatever, deliver the entire backend, the physical logistics of sending the material, producing the material, all that kind of stuff. So basically all NGOs have a cycling charity event on a platform which they can leverage, that. And yes, when we start, there is a template of events, but as we go along, we can customize this and we can leverage it in different ways. So
Venkat,
at
that's a
some
very
point of
good
time,
thought. And
Pardon.
we will go back with that, because I think it can also be a very good platform for working with payroll giving for companies, for employees.
Exactly.
Or,
Exactly.
yeah. So I think that there are very good thoughts that I have heard, and very good points that have come through. We will go back to our own discussion team and see how we can take this forward. Thank you very much for those inputs.
Thank you, Madhu. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, anyone? I'm just going to open the forum for another quick 5 to 10 seconds. Anyone got a question? If you do, then please do raise your hand and let us know about it. Since I represent the cyclists and the cycling community, I want to invite you guys, all the cyclists who are going to be doing all the hard work and taking the word out there on the road. If there's anything, when you became a part of this event, something that came to your mind and you would like to share it with everybody, take a moment. We have about a quick 5 minutes before, I think it's 4 minutes left to go. And I need a minute before to end the session. So quickly, 3 minutes out. Anyone want to say a word?
We have a chat from Amit Yadav on Facebook, and he says about cycling tracks and dedicated facilities. And we touched upon this topic in the brand ambassadors briefing that we did. See, it's a catch-22 situation. We are in Bombay, and there was a cycling track built in BKC. BKC was built as a dream cycling kind of thing with the cycling tracks in green and all that. But there were no cyclists because because there was no demand. The track was made, but over a period of time, the rickshaws and the taxis, all of them started parking on the cycling tracks. And today, the cycling tracks don't exist. And now there's a new cycling track that has been made, etc. So it's always a catch-22 situation. If you create the infrastructure and it doesn't get used, somebody else will come and occupy that infrastructure. At the same time, if there is infrastructure, cycling will gain more popularity. So it's a catch-22 situation, and both demand and supply have to increase. We are hoping that events like Cycle for Good, which have a throughout the year engagement, will get more people into cycling. Then some of them will start taking it from recreation to commute to work, etc., etc. And then when the demand is there, then obviously the government will also make the supply of infrastructure that is, suitable for the demand. I hope, Abhi, that is the answer to your, post on Facebook.
Sure. One last story from my side. So we were cycling and keep spreading the word. So a guy got really impressed. He said, "Hey, I would like to buy a cycle." The next week he came along, bought a cycle, and then I realized his BMW was suddenly given to his wife. So he comes to me, he says, "I am happy cycling. The wife is happily driving the BMW. I'm not paying any money towards the petrol. It's all good." Ladies and gentlemen, cycle for good, and it is all good at the end of the day. I would like to take this opportunity to thank You Too Can Run, Mr. Venkataraman Pichumani. Thank you so much for having this event the way it is. Nishit sir, thank you for having yourself on board, taking the time out for being with us and starting this initiative. And all the panelists over here, all the cyclists, all the participants, the back-end team at You Too Can Run, I think standing ovation from my side. I'm not standing, but I'm awaiting you for sure. Great job. And we will keep meeting more often, and a request to everybody, send those videos in. On that note, Ankush Sharma signing off for all. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And I think I'm going cycling now.
Thank you, Ankush. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
You guys take care.
Thank
Have
you,
fun.
everybody.
And we will
Thank you.
see you a little later.